Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me today for my Big Fish card of the month for the month of November. Before we get started, in case you can't hear it in my voice, it sounds obvious to me, but I'm a little bit under the weather. Did end up coming down with COVID-19. Caught it this past weekend, so I'm still kind of working my way through that. So apologies for my voice, but I did want to get this video in. I feel better than I sound, and wanted to get to my Big Fish card of the month for November. So if you've missed earlier installments of this on the channel this year, 2022 represents my 15th year in the hobby as an adult, and I also celebrated my 40th birthday a couple months back. So I've been celebrating this year by getting one big significant card every month of the year, my Big Fish card of the month. And I have November's to unveil here, but I'm going to show a couple other cards before we get to that. And this is going to be a soccer-themed episode, although with kind of a baseball tie-in, so bear with me. But as a lead-in, the two cards that you see here, I showed these in the early days of the channel. These are, in my opinion, and in the opinion of most, the two greatest soccer players of the 21st century, Leo Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Those two cards are from the first ever Topps Chrome Sapphire release for the UEFA Champions League. And wanted to track those down because they're not expensive cards or anything, but I love Sapphire, and I think those two guys are the guys when it comes to soccer over the last 20 years. So I showed these in the early days of the channel, picked up the pair, and these are like the short printed versions. You can see on the slabs here it says SP. So each player had actually two cards on the checklist, a standard card and then an image variation. So the ones I had shown previously are the SPs, or the image variations. But I've now recently been able to complete the two standards as well. So here is the Messi card, the non-SP, and he's pictured here in a more standard Barcelona kit versus the yellow that he was on here in this one. And then also, this is the one that I just landed. I've had the Messi a while. Finally picked up a Ronaldo for about 17 bucks in a PSA 9. So I've now got all four, the SPs and the non-SPs, of the two soccer goats of the last 20 years from the Sapphire release. And obviously wanted to show these off now, not only because I finally tracked down the Ronaldo, but because the World Cup action is ongoing. The tournament started this past Sunday. I've been loving it so far. Really look forward to this every 4 years. There's nothing else like it on the planet in the world of sports. Soccer is truly the global game. And so for this month's Big Fish card of the month, I do have a soccer card, and it is a Leo Messi card. He is my favorite soccer player of all time. I very much like Ronaldo and Messi, but in the great debate of who is better, I'm on Team Messi. Although I do try to collect both guys a little bit, definitely have more Messi cards. And I landed a Messi card recently that is pretty big, maybe my biggest card of his overall, one of them anyway, and I'm really proud of it. And it ties back to this card here, which I've never shown yet on the channel, but this is a 1993 Topps Finest Refractor of Will the Thrill Clark, one of my favorite three players growing up. Anyone who collected in the 90s or even just collects 90s cards after the fact knows what a big deal these Finest Refractors are. There are purportedly like 240 something of each of these, although they're not serial numbered, and they're kind of the first like gloriously shiny, just stunner cards that are out there. These have become very tough over time. I'm honored to have this Will Clark in my collection. Got this relatively cheap many years back. Would love to have more of these, but they are absolutely cost prohibitive. Any star is well up into the comma card threshold at this point, or beyond that threshold. But I do have that Will Clark, and I busted it out because this 93 Finest design, this baseball's finest, has become kind of iconic in the hobby because it is one of the more desirable cards of the 90s. And recently, Topps released a football's finest, meaning soccer, the global football game, flashback set. And these cards borrow their design from that 93 Finest release. Pretty expensive box. I think it's about $200 to $250 a box. But I was able to pick up a single that cost me less than it would have cost me to bust a box, and is something nicer than I would have pulled out of a box, undoubtedly. So without any further ado, it's been 5 minutes here. Here's the Big Fish card of the month for November 2022. The Football's Finest Flashbacks Leo Messi gold. Check that out. Has that 93 throwback design, obviously modified here for the world of football or soccer versus baseball. But other than that, quite true to the original. Love the awesome refraction on this card. Just really, really cool. Of course, Topps doesn't do etching or the player in kind of shiny format anymore like they used to. So I'll still give the edge to that original 93, but boy, they did a nice job with these. Really surprised I was able to end up with this card. In my opinion, again, the best footballer on the globe over the last 20 years and continues to produce at a very high level. He's 35 years old, a couple years younger or a year and a half younger than Ronaldo. So it's going to be really interesting to see where he ends up when he winds down his career. But aside from being a gorgeous looking card, obviously anything that is gold is highly desirable. And as is usually the case with gold in the world of Topps, this is numbered out of just 50. I've got copy 25 of 50 here. So, man, just a gorgeous card. I could stare at this all day. Argentina actually had a pretty rough loss this morning. They were upset by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the early morning tilt, lost 2-1. But Messi did find the score sheet. I think it was like his 7th World Cup goal. And hoping Argentina can bounce back and make it to the elimination rounds and you know, fare better in their second and third group stage games. So that was a little disappointing. But yeah, just awesome Messi card. One that is sneaky good. You know, Messi is highly collectible. This is along the lines in the world of baseball of getting like a Mike Trout or a Ken Griffey Jr. gold numbered to 50. This is also the first year that they did these finest flashbacks. And again, as a child of the 90s, I'm just really partial to these because these 93s were such a big deal. So that is my big fish card of the month, arguably the best Leo Messi in my entire collection. Hope those of you that are soccer fans are enjoying the World Cup and having a blast with it. I certainly am. Again, I think it's the greatest tournament in sports and really looking forward to watching it unfold throughout the month here, including a big game for France later today. And then, of course, England versus the U.S. Friday afternoon on Black Friday. So if you are considering getting into soccer or have been a casual fan, I would highly recommend tuning in at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on a Friday afternoon if you find yourself free, and check that game out. So really appreciate everybody stopping by. I know your time is valuable, and I'm glad you chose to spend a few minutes checking out my big soccer card of the month here. I'll certainly be back in December with the finale of this project. And in the meantime, I hope everybody stays safe and enjoys the hobby. Take care.